I mean, like, I like him. I like him as much as I enjoy, like, whatever else might come on the radio.
Yeah, it's
You know,
decent. Like, oh, that's on the radio. Okay, whatever kind of music. But I wouldn't seek it out and listen to an entire album or something like I would with music I actually like. Uh, yeah, I just thought it was funny, and I saw some people were legit upset about it on Twitter. They're like, they didn't have to talk shit on Imagine Dragons.
what is it? Oh, wow. They fucking. I'm looking through Tom Connor's Twitter right now, and apparently, like, they did Midnight's Edge in the morning saying that Hawkeye is bombing.
Yeah, I mean that's
On
that's
what
that's
basis,
that's
though? Where are
what
they
they're
getting
all
this
saying now.
information?
Well, because it's not doing as well as Loki did. Despite the fact that it probably was never intended to do
I
as
wonder.
well
I
as Loki.
wonder why Loki, a fan favorite since 2012,
Oh,
is a diehard fan base, versus Hawkeye, an Avenger most people kind of like are iffy about anyway. Plus, it's focused on a new character most people don't even know about.
Plus, Loki was central to like the entire MCU and the multiverse and everything, and Hawkeye isn't yet, and probably won't be that central to it. But you know what I mean. So there's like a lot more reasons for people to tune into Loki and get excited about it. But
well, they don't even really talk about Hawkeye in the they talk about this here. Okay, I kind of want to see this here. All right. So we'll just kind of dive into it with these guys, because we'll do a few minutes of stupid fucking Midnight's Edge in the morning, because they talk about, you heard that that Bob Chapek didn't get the chairman of the board position.
Oh, that's right. It's the woman. Oh no, it's the woman
So
that's the role.
Susan Arnold takes over here.
was that something they predicted that he would?
Well, they've been calling him. So Kamran Pasha, again, he's like their go-to guru. And he'll say things like, "Oh, Bob Chapek is Machiavellian. Bob Chapek, he's putting everyone in their place. He's fighting a war. He's winning." All this nonsense. Like, we talked about last night watching the Midnight's Edge video that just was completely, like, it was one of the worst things I'd ever seen. For how little integrity it had. And then this is them when they're just off filter. This is them when it's not scripted. And I kind of appreciate it like this, because you just get some of these really terrible takes. Hold on here. HRS for $5 says, out of context, Kate Bishop sitting on that ride. Well, everyone's got a kink, sir.
Well, I know what he's talking about. There was the GIF. I'm not going to get into it. People are making memes about that for obvious reasons.
You're gonna have to fill me in on that one. Why? As to why?
It looked like there was a sexual act going on. If you didn't know she was riding the ride, that was the meme, basically.
I did not personally come to that conclusion.
Neither did I, but some people did.
I was watching the show with my 4-year-old daughter, so I wasn't really like, I really wonder what's going on between the legs of Haley in that moment right there. Like if I was that ride, how would I handle this?
Yeah,
like my weirdest take on a Duke Nukem voice. Dat dude Vince here, hardcore take here, $2. RJ sucks. RJ doesn't suck. RJ's a good boy. You like RJ. All right, so let us give this a quick listen to see just how stupid dipshit Kamran Pasha is gonna fucking take this shit.
About that, but she says here she is a veteran of consumer products giant Procter and Gamble, as well as the Carlyle Group investment group, and will take the reins from Chairman Bob Iger in the role as he departs December 31st. The transaction will mark the end of an era for the big entertainment company, which will not have Iger as a senior operating role for the first time since 1996. In a filing with U.S. Secretary's Exchange Commission, Disney said Iger informed its board Wednesday that he intended to step down as chairman of the board at the same time he left his role as executive chairman at the end of the year. Susan is an incredibly esteemed executive whose wealth of experience, unwavering integrity, and expert judgment have been invaluable to the company since she first joined the board in 2007, said Iger in a prepared statement. Having most recently served as independent lead director, Susan is the perfect choice for chairman of the board, and I am confident the company is well.
Boring.
I'm a critical since Disney
has
followed in the past. Was named Disney between 2013
Boring.
as chairman of the board. And
boring.
Do you think this
Boring.
right to camera?
Tom, you suck so fucking much. My God. So boring. I want to get to when Cameron actually talks, because there we go. Because Tom has the worst takes and is the most boring individual on the planet. Learn to read.
Yeah.
With class, bitch. All right. Let me get ahead here. Okay.
That is who the CEO reports to. The CEO is responsible to the board, and the person who speaks for the board is now this person. So Chapek hasn't been completely free to do everything that he wanted to do as long as Iger was there, because Iger still had influence and pull. Now Iger is gone. That doesn't mean that Chapek is completely 100% in charge, because everything he does, he has to have Susan Arnold sign off on. So where does Susan Arnold stand? That is the big question. Kamran, what's your take on this?
I think the news that Susan Arnold has been appointed or will be appointed the new chairman of Disney starting January 1st is one of the most important events in Disney history and one of the most important events in recent Hollywood history. And I'm going to liken it to something, because I'm a Star Wars fan, I'm going to liken it to something that I think will surprise people in the chat and people that are watching this video. This is the revelation of Darth Sidious.
What?
Chapek was never the boss this whole time.
What?
Even as he took power the last year.
Oh,
he was the apprentice.
Guess what? We've got
was Darth
another
Maul.
evil woman behind the scenes.
And he was out there in public doing what the apprentice does. And now the revelation of who's been behind the scenes this whole time and who put him in power has come about. Because let's look at who Ms. Arnold is.
Oh my! I'm sorry. I have to stop myself for a second. The fuck? The ever-loving.
How
what
seriously he's
fuck?
taking this too. It's like one thing to make a passing allegorical reference about something like that, like I would do that. You know what I mean? Like not about this specifically, but I might be like, oh, well,
hold on. Susan Arnold is Darth Sidious and Bob Chapek was Darth Vader this entire time serving the Greater Master. What the fuck?
Yeah, she joined the board in 2012. Like she joined the board in 2012. She's been there for 9 years. This is the thing. Listen, not one person will I guarantee you, will push back on him at all. Not one fucking person will go, that maybe doesn't seem right, Cameron. Perhaps the Adderall has kicked in. I mean, like, I know his pupils aren't dilated, but look how fucking tiny they are. That is something very creepy about that too. Like, I don't know, maybe.
I mean, there's a look in his eye that tells me he's just not really connected with reality 100%. That's
yes. Yeah, I definitely.
Plus, the way, somebody mentioned it in chat while he was just listening to the guy read that, like, he's just sitting there with this default creepy smile on his face the whole time. And it's like, I'm just imagining all kinds of, like basically in Deadpool, whenever gets stabbed in the head and he's seeing all these cartoons running around and shit. That's what I imagine is going on in this guy's head as he's just sitting there. Like he's fucking bonkers.
Yeah, I know. It's just, Command Unity here asks, who is Darth Jar Jar? Yes, basically that's what
like
it
a
is.
doll's eyes.
Yes. Johnny here says Bond bad guy vibes. I don't know if I mean, like, we're talking mini boss here. We're talking mini bars here. Oh my God. Tony here says he has a bit of that look, a little bit. Yeah. Neo says that guy's desperate for attention. He really is. But the thing is, they give it to him. They absolutely give it to him. And I mean, we're giving it to him too. So there's that. Andrew says his pupils are small because he's well lit. No, I know. Well, I know that, man. I'm just shut up. All right, we're gonna.
Well, he was just praising Crowder a minute ago, so I wouldn't take what he has to say.
Was he praising Crowder a minute ago?
Yeah,
I saw something about Crowder. Oh, right. When Crowder and Amy Schumer got into it, yeah, two top pinnacles of fucking comedy. Yeah, I feel like one person hates their vagina and the other person wishes he had a vagina. So, maybe here's a hot take for you, Dane. Have you ever considered the opinion that it's potential that Steven Crowder wishes he was a woman?
Oh, I mean, I don't know enough. I mean, I've seen just clips of him here and there, so I don't really know enough.
Oh,
about
have you
him.
never watched him go and drag?
Okay, yeah, I guess I have seen some
Yeah.
images of that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's his default. Let me dress in drag and go to these events. And he's not funny, but it's just like that's his thing.
he's not.
That's his like, hey, what's going on?
He's somehow convinced himself that by being cringe and upsetting basically everybody except for a few people on the right, that is comedy.
Yes,
but I don't know. Yeah,
I know the right can't meme. We know that. Mega Potastic here says at least Cameron makes great cleaning products. Yeah, a little bit. Maladner says he looks like a lunatic from a horror movie. He does look like the kind of guy who would be warning the kids about the urban legend in the hills, but then you would later on find out that he is the one behind the mask.
yeah.
So, I mean, maybe because, I mean, as we watched in their video last night, they bring Cameron in, they present him as a journalist, and which they rarely ever present him as a journalist. From like the couple of years he spent working in the industry, a decade, 2.5 decades ago. And then they recycle one of his opinions as their sources say at the inside. And it's like, no one's going to question any of this shit. Like, it's so weird to me. It's so fucking weird, but I just am so enamored by this crazy son of a bitch.
The most important thing in her bio, in her resume, is that she was a member, or is a member, of the Carlyle Group. The Carlyle Group is one of the most powerful and wealthiest private equity investment groups on the planet. And she's been there, I believe, since 2007 when she left Procter & Gamble, or maybe 2012. I don't know the exact dates, but she's been there for at least a decade. And I have said on Midnight's Edge for over a year that Bob Chapek is the investor's choice, and that he was able to take over as at least nominally as CEO until he finally wrested that power earlier, this year, or at least halfway through this year, when he actually took the actual reins because Iger wouldn't let him be the CEO. So I have wondered for some time who was behind that. Who were the investors pushing for him? And now it makes absolute sense. If we look at Ms. Arnold, who's been there, who's been in the board for many years, board of Disney, and then she was appointed in 2018 as the independent lead director. So within directors, there's people that are directors essentially that are associated with the company, and there's people that are directors that are not associated with the company, the independent directors. And she was essentially put in charge of them. So now, and that was 2018, right at the height of when we were having major crises economically, the chickens coming home to roost from Lucasfilm and everything else, and Marvel beginning to make a downturn, where suddenly she is pushed forward as from being just a board member to the head of the independent investors. She was the voice of the people that were not the club. I see people asking in the chat, is she a member of the club? She may be a member of other clubs, financial clubs, Wall Street clubs, but she's not a member of the Hollywood club any more than Chapek is. And she was pushed forward because the investors were tired of losing money and watching bad PR coming out of mismanaged Disney, Lucasfilm, and the.
Oh, okay. So
he's the living embodiment of the fucking Charlie from It's Always Sunny, with the conspiracy board meme. That's all I'm seeing now is like, Pepe Silva. Yeah.
But no, it's true. I mean, he's talking about how Marvel was taking a downturn in 2018.
Yeah, the year of Infinity War.
The year of
Black Panther.
That was the peak, man. That was like the cream of the crop,
Yeah. What else? Okay, there's 3 films in 2018.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Okay, that one. Yeah, that one. But that still did better than Ant-Man from 2015.
Yeah.
So I mean, and then of course 2019 had the $1 billion. All 3 films are $1 billion, 2.7 billion in the case of fucking Endgame. I mean, like Marvel properties brought home close to 5 billion in ticket sales in 2019, and he's talking about their downward turn.
Yeah, it was an economic crisis, he said. And when he said that, at first I was like, wait, is he talking about general? No, he's talking just about movies.
Yeah,
and he's not even right about that.
I'm like, is he mixing up 2008 with 2018? Because that's where my thought went first. I'm like, wait, like the recession at the end of the Bush administration, that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But we got out of that okay, and then You know, is that what he's talking about? Because movies seem to be doing just fine, but they've only gotten more popular in the last 10 years. And these big tentpoles and whatever. No, he's just he's just literally, and again, it's like last night. It's like they're mixing in fact, right? They're mixing in fact, and then he's just pushing this really fringe agenda.
Mhm.
And because it's mixed in with some factual information that you can pull from, no one out there is going to question it because he's not blinking, really. He's intent looking at the screen. He's not looking away, thinking about what he's saying. I think he's the true believer. I think this guy's not the con guy behind the con. This guy is the fucking mark.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
I don't get even really a grifty sense from him. I legit kind of feel creeped out watching this guy. Like he's, I don't know, not well.
okay, so according to Rational Skeptic here, he says that Cameron said on the Valiant Renegade that Kennedy knows who he is and that she watches channels like Doomcock and such. Would that be very similar to Doomcock reporting that Alex Kurtzman watches Doomcock and got so mad that he punched a hole in the TV?
That's probably exactly what it is. It's
about
them
the
inflating
same
their own
thing.
ego, seeing that they're being noticed by Hollywood, that they're making an impact.
Well, remember, Doomcock says that, oh, my Hollywood spies tell me that people at Lucasfilm are watching this video, so be sure to leave a comment. Like, dude, no, they're not. Like, no. I will be fair, and I'll say maybe tangentially, there are people at the company who are aware of who all of us are to some extent. You know, that there are people out there who probably monitor social media, and that includes YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever.
Yeah.
And at that particular point, they probably know something, right? At the end of the day, though, does it have any actual meaning or impact? And the answer to that is no, it doesn't.
You know what? I would love to know if something like this happens, but just imagining it makes me happy, even if it doesn't happen. But like, imagine just a bunch of people that work at Lucasfilm or Marvel or whatever, you know, not like known names or anything, but like the people that work behind the scenes, you know, the producers, assistants, and effects people and stuff like that. And they just get together on weekends and they just have a party and watch fucking Doomcock videos and just laugh their asses off. You know what I mean? Like, I can imagine that being a thing more than them like watching it like, oh, I'm so angry at what he's saying.
Well, I mean, remember that interview where Ryan Johnson had said that they laugh at Mike Zero? You know, and he mentioned Mike Zero by name and that they laugh at Mike Zero. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of the big factor of this, where
But Matt, Talama Parkwa.
Talama Parkwa, I am a Palpatine. Yeah, I know. Now that's Star Wars theory, and he's an idiot sometimes too. So, you know, that's what it is. But yeah, I mean, you can tell these guys have their heads shoved so far up their fucking ass that that they literally think that they are way more important than they are. And you know, that's the thing, is like someone had made a comment on last night's video about there being like ego in this world, in this space, in this sector of the internet. And that's absolutely true. There's a ton of ego out there, and we all have it to an extent. I think you have to have some kind of ego to do this. But my favorite are things like this, where Tom here from Midnight said, just crying, "Did I say something wrong, Kevin Smith? I got blocked," you know? And so he's crying about getting blocked by Kevin Smith, because guess what? That guy doesn't want to deal with your baby back beta male bullshit.
Well, when you cry about how Kevin Smith ruined your childhood as you tear up Jay inside the Bob posters and say F Kevin Smith.
Well,
I'm never
according
supporting
to
you
a
again.
mutual friend between Tom and I, that was all done for effect. That was done for a joke. That was done for comedy.
Mm.
Yeah, you know what? I've watched Friday Night Tights. That shit's cringier than shit. Because they think they're fucking funny. They're not fucking funny.
He thinks he hurt Kevin Smith's feelings when it's really just like, I'm tired of getting notifications. I want to roll around in my money and read all the positive reviews about Masters of the Universe Revelation. So
Basically.
to think that they're having any effect on him is pretty funny.
Well, I mean, like, you know, look, it is, you can argue that it is true that Masters of the Universe Revelation did not hit the top 10 during its first week. Okay, that is true. But you could also look at it and go, well, their top 10, for what was released that week, there's a lot of competition. There was a great deal of competition. So we don't quite know. I know F is for Family made it in the top 10 after its first week, but that's also the fifth and final season of the show.
Also, what is the effect of so many fucking channels that dominate the algorithm that have been talking shit on it ever since part 1, to where people that might have watched it might not be interested anymore because they watched a bunch of fucking videos talking about how it's, woke or whatever. And it's like, how much does that actually play into the ratings on Netflix? That's what
See, I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
It might be negligible, but it's definitely not a zero.
Yes.
Number,
I don't want to say that there's no impact, right? Because I know that there's impact. Back in 2018, when all these guys were attacking Solo, I got a call from a friend of mine. And this is one of the things that kind of turned me away from that kind of shit. A good friend of mine called me up who's not an internet person. And he's just all like, hey man, what's this I hear about Solo sucking? And this is like in March of 2018. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's all like, I saw online that Solo is like gonna suck. And I'm like, well, I mean, you haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, but I know where these rumors are coming from, and a lot of it's bullshit. And he's like, oh, well, I'm hearing about this, right? And I use this as an example now because guess what? I read like Facebook news every day. When I log into Facebook to check whatever's going on, I'll see what they recommend in the algorithm because I look at a lot of the entertainment side of stuff. They recommend me a lot of entertainment things like fucking I'm looking at it right now and it's like, oh, giant freaking robot. That's not a reliable website. I get a lot of, oh, look right here. Bounding into Comics is one that's recommended to me. And the title of this one is Archbishop Jose Gomez theorizes that new social justice and woke movements are pseudo religions and even replacements and rivals to traditional Christian beliefs. So, and I'm not making that up. Now we got Bounding into Comics legitimately trying to argue that fucking the Catholic faith is trying to say that being woke is now considered anti-religious and more or less going to here. This is, I'll bring up the fucking the thumbnail, or this is what the head of the article is. Look at this right here. Archbishop Jose Gomez theorizes that new social justice and woke movements are pseudo religions and even replacements and rivals to traditional Christian beliefs.
Jesus H. Christ.
This is how far they're going. This is the cult fucking mentality. Like this shit, and this is in fucking Facebook news feed. So this is going out to like hundreds of millions of fucking people.
Yeah.
And it's
what's funny is that these are the same people that will often say and have said for years that like, oh, you're just buying the mainstream narrative and shit. And it's like, now this is the mainstream narrative. And they, you know what I mean? Like they don't even realize that that's what has happened. If that's showing up in, the kind of stuff that Facebook pushes, especially, you know what I mean? Like it like that. And yeah, they're completely unself-aware.
Well, it's like, and it's not only them. I'll get like, I'll also get sometimes the Cosmic Book News pops up a bit more on, let's say, like Google News than Facebook.
Yeah.
But I'll get like Inside the Magic pretty often. And they're fucking terrible. Like they're goddamn terrible, and this is the kind of stuff that gets like shared around and it's, people don't question it because they think that it's pre-approved. And this isn't like, look, this isn't just like an alternative opinion to something. This is literally like sharing bullshit and like pushing
alternate reality. Yeah.
It's a lot of what it boils down to. And I think people are kind of waking up to it to an extent. Without Trump, there has been a lot of issues that have kind of that like it's there hasn't, like the crazies are coming out, but that constant bombardment from the commander in chief isn't there. So there is a bit of like a lesser intensity, but now there's also a power vacuum.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on in this scenario. And that's kind of what these guys are doing right here. That's what Midnight's Edge is doing with Kamran Pasha, allowing him to speak on this shit. I just want to see what he's going to say now, because this is now turning into just almost like this kind of getting around and just laughing at this guy. But again,
he looks like a fucking Muppet. Look at that.
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Clean Muppet, Mr. Clean fucking,
someone should make a Kamran Pasha puppet. I would really love to see that.
Well, someone maybe will, maybe they will.
The beginnings of crisis happening at Marvel. And so this was the person who pushed Bob Chapek, because Bob Chapek's rise to power as CEO made no sense from a Hollywood club perspective. He wasn't a member of the club. I had never come across his name in my
What is a
years of,
Hollywood
I worked
club?
at Disney, and his name never came up in the Hollywood circles.
That's bullcrap though, because he's the head of Disney Parks. He's big.
And I don't imagine this guy was fucking roaming around in Hollywood circles. People would be like, you know, fucking cringing and getting away from him if he walked up and shit. Sorry.
Oh, I know. It's
Again,
so weird.
Bob
It's so
Iger
weird.
was the one who picked him. He was nominated by Bob Iger. Said, this is the guy I want.
Yeah, because Iger was the head of the board. Now, I will say this, though. I will say the Susan Arnold thing and the Carlyle group, Cameron might be onto something there, but he's looking at it from the wrong perspective, which doesn't surprise me. Bob Iger has the single highest amount of personal shares of Disney stock. What her job there, she said in that statement, she's going to serve the shareholders. So her job is to make sure that Chapek doesn't tank the stock. And because everything is up in the air right now with a lot of this stuff, you know, with like Omicron and everything else that's going on, there is a bit of a problem. You know, it's not to say that the stock hasn't done well, but it is a little bit on the tumultuous side. And so that's something that her job at this point is to protect the shareholders. This is not a Hollywood issue at this point. Like look, Endgame might have made $2.7 billion worldwide. Disney fucking parks bring in like $16 billion a year. And I think that's like profit because of the overhead that they charge. So there is literally like none of these idiots, none of these chuds ever look at it from the truest business perspective, which is what is it that's going to benefit the shareholder? And where is the highest amount of money coming from? Because it ain't fucking movies. That's a big one that sells a lot of merch. But the theme parks, that's why their emphasis is the fucking theme parks. It's very crazy. Very crazy. Let's see. Fourth here says, holy hell, have you seen the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel? It looks terrible. It looks like Star Trek. It does.
Yeah.
It very much does. And my girlfriend today, because we were talking about, so like next year she's taking a cruise with her sister. And then she feels kind of guilty, like leaving me with the kids for the week, which is fine. And then she's like, well, okay, for your 40th birthday, we'll send you on a cruise. Where do you want to go? I'm like, well, I don't really want to go anywhere, but I do want to go to that Star Wars hotel. And then we were talking about that today a little bit. She's like, well, maybe we can figure out a way to get you to go to that. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Based on what I saw, I'm willing to wait a couple years.
Yeah, let's get some feedback first.
I'll watch some YouTube vids, you know, and I'll check it out. And then like, you know, I'm not going to drop that kind of cash for a 2-night event. That's going to, you know, no, I don't know. It's crazy shit, but thank you. Johnny here says it's just one big gaslight, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Did I miss 2 of your super chats? I'm sorry, buddy. Let me go back and get them. Let me find him here. Okay. H Bart's here says, Cameron looking like Master Oogway. Oh, that is crazy.
His time has come.
And then also, he says, RJ shows up in No Way Home as Ned's variant.
That's a little offensive, buddy. You better watch yourself, H parts. I'm coming for you.
Why is it offensive?
I'm messing with that.
Oh, Ned rules. No, you gave me a lot to think about just now, Matt. Like I hadn't really considered that much. That the movies themselves, that they act like are the entire, like the movies are what hold these corporations up, when there are so many other larger, more foundational pillars that of income that hold these things up, and they just ignore that, and they treat the movies as if that's everything.
Yeah.
For these studios and
the movies are not a monolith, like at all. It's part of a larger thing. I mean, AT&T spent like, what is it, like $100 billion for Time Warner, and they did it because they wanted to get into the entertainment industry by using HBO Max and everything. But they wanted to use that to push their 5G AT&T service, because that's where the bulk of their income is. And so when that kind of failed to materialize, that's why they realized, oh wait, by getting into the entertainment industry, we're actually like hurting our actual cellular brand, our telecom company, which is what serves our shareholders. So let's spin off the entertainment division into the Discovery merger, so we can focus on doing our 5G rollout and not have it directly impact our shares, which will then not be good for us. You know, so the entertainment assets in this case for all these telecom companies or these companies are literally just a means to an end. They're there, they serve a purpose. That is a revenue source. But what is the point of something like why would you invest $100 million into 8 episodes of the fucking Mandalorian? It's not just because you want to fucking see it. It's because you want to make sure that people out there buy Mandalorian merch, because that's where more of the money is. I'll give you guys a prime example. You know the movie Cars, right? It's a Doc Hollywood ripoff. We all know it.
Well, one of the characters is named Doc Holliday, so it's like, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah, totally right with that. But it literally is a Michael J. Fox movie knockoff. Doesn't matter because it's for kids. And guess what? Kids loved it. Kids really loved it. And guess what? Kids wanted as a result of that. They wanted the merch. They wanted the toys. They wanted the shirts. They wanted the whatever the fuck else. Do you know how much money Cars made in merchandise sales for Disney? Just the first movie.
Just the first movie?
Just the first movie.
$1 billion.
Yes.
Really? Oh,
over $1 billion in merchandise sales for Disney alone under the Cars brand, just for that first movie.
It's crazy.
Why do you think they did 2 more sequels and 2 spinoffs? They did. They wanted to do, that was, again, I'm pretty sure Iger pushed for Cars 2. So you bastard. But Cars 3 was really good. I thought Cars 3 was a nice kind of bookend to that. And then they did all those Cars tunes with Mater. Those are really popular. You have the plane spin-off movies. Those were done because they wanted to capitalize. Those were direct-to-DVD films, by the way. The Planes 1 and 2, direct-to-DVD films that because of the success of the Cars franchise, they decided to make them theatrical releases. This was Disney's animated July release. Was the Planes movies, because they saw value in the fact that they only cost like $50 million to manufacture or some shit.
Yeah, because when they're made by like an offshoot company, Disney
they were made by the home video department.
That's right. I remember
that. The same people that crapped out the 5 fucking Tinkerbell movies. Did you know that there were 5 Tinkerbell movies?
I thought there was like 2 or 3.
I have a daughter. There are 5.
Isn't there one with where they become pirates or something?
That one's actually really good. I'm not gonna lie, because Tom Hiddleston voices Captain Hook.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm serious. Yeah,
I'd check that out. I mean, I like watching, what's that? There's like a nature documentary on Disney Plus that he narrates, and I'm just like, man, I could listen to this fucking guy talk forever.
Oh, I love Tom Hiddleston. But I'm just saying, it's like the Disney home video market is a massive thing. Look at the Disney stores. Those were big for a long period of time. They're not as many anymore because I think, they realized they could just license it out to all these other companies. But look at all these companies that paid the licensing rights. Look at all the little fucking Star Wars knickknacks you can get when a new movie is coming out or any kind of Disney animated thing is coming out. That's where the fucking money is, because the licensing fees gets paid to Disney. They get a cut of the merch sales, and all that shit is cheaply manufactured in sweat lodges or sweatshops and fucking, all that crap overseas.
Made by children for children.
Exactly. There you go. That is the whole point. Is that so? All these guys focuses on the box office, which the box office is even a volatile number too, because we don't necessarily know what the shares, what the split is, what the percentage is. People like to argue that it's roughly 50%. It's not. Like, maybe the drive-in, Warner Brothers for Harry Potter wanted 78%. That 78 cents on the dollar is what they wanted at it from us, but we did it because guess where the money is? Fucking concessions. So you look at the split. So this money comes in. You have the split breakdown from chain to chain, and then you figure overseas. They make less money overseas because of the currency rate, as well as how those deals work out. China specifically takes the majority of the money. So it's just like, it's not all, it's all, the 10 years ago, no one gave a fuck like this about the box office, but it's a sport now. It's like fucking watching, Sunday football and trying to like, it's like it's fantasy fucking football is what it is.
Pretty much, it's like you're watching the teams, you're watching how they're doing, performing.
Yep.
So, okay, Andrew here says, for what it's worth, AT&T spun off its media assets because Trump's DOJ was pursuing an antitrust suit to stop the merger. Divesting those assets stopped the DOJ suit. The thing is though, but look, Trump's DOJ was talking about that literally for years. And come on, and Dane, I'm sure you'll agree with me on this one. Trump's DOJ was largely feckless.
Oh yeah.
It was feckless as fuck.
Yep.
That was that. Jess here says, I didn't know Planes was a direct to DVD. That was its original thing.
That's what it was supposed to be, but then it got pushed to theatrical.
Oh, and Moisture corrected me. There's actually 6 Tinkerbell movies. I must have just blacked out because I've seen them. They all kind of merged together.
It's not like the Barbie movies. There's like 20,000 Barbie movies, like at least like 100.
Oh, but I'll tell you this though: the Netflix Barbie show, not terrible.
Huh.
Like there's some interesting storylines there. I mean, really, it's like it's vapid as fuck in some cases, but it's like Barbie is not like the dumb idiot that you would think Barbie is. Like they show her as actually a capable young woman surrounded by capable.
I never thought Barbie was stupid. She was like a doctor and a lawyer. Remember?
Oh no! In this one, she's a vlogger.
Oh. And
like she's got like all of her friends and her siblings and stuff like that, but they go on these like wacky adventures. It's not terrible. My kid likes it. Hold on. H Bart's here for $2. Says Stuart Little is cinema. Stuart Little was written by M. Night Shyamalan.
Wow.
No way, was it?
Yes, M. Night Shyamalan wrote Stuart Little the movie.
That is
the
bizarre.
twist is that it's pretty good.
Yeah, right.
Did you write Stuart Little too?
I hope not. That movie was terrible.
I hate Stuart Little too.
And just sorry, random aside, the Crumblies have been arrested in Detroit.
Oh, thank God. Are they alive?
Yeah.
Oh, they're arrested. Okay.
Hmm.
I thought they were gonna,
Kill them and arrest them. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna like, I'm glad they're being good. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Kyle Rittenhouse's parents next. Sorry. I've been meaning to say that all day. I don't want to get into it, but I have a lot of thoughts about how he acquired that gun.
Yeah.
But let's get back to something we can laugh at that doesn't make us wallow in human tragedy. Kamran Pasha.
The person that we all assumed was going to be the next CEO and chairman of Disney was going to be Iger's protege, Alan Horn, who was running the movies on his part. Now, Alan Horn is out along with Iger. And so that's because he was a failed candidate for that position.
Alan Horn is 78 years old, you balding bitch.
He was going to retire.
Alan Horn was already retired, and Bob Iger coaxed him out to come and oversee Disney Studios. What the fuck? Oh my God. This is it's so
also
bad.
Easily debunkable as well, which makes you more frustrated.
It's like, oh my God. It's so QAnon.
He should have been given the CEO job. And when Bob Chapek, who had been working in consumer affairs, working in with the parks, someone that the Hollywood elite crowd had never dealt with, took that position, something was up. He had been pushed there, and he had obviously been pushed by someone powerful enough to knock out candidates like Alan Horn. And I've been wondering who that person was for some time, and that person has now revealed themselves, because Bob Chapek, over the course of this year, has been doing what the Sith Apprentice does, which is clear out the way for the master to reveal themselves. That's what Darth Maul did. That's what Vader did. And they're out there clearing the brush so the master can unveil themselves. And so we are now seeing the mastermind behind Chapek and the master behind the new strategy, which is Susan Arnold,
You son of a bitch. That's
representative
beautiful.
of the investor class, not part of the club, head of the independent board members who are not part of the Disney internal structure. She's now taking over. So people who are misreading this, people are saying, as usual, people misread things. You don't understand the dynamics of these things. People are saying, well, I've heard people say, well, this is obviously a vote of no confidence in Bob Chapek because he should have been given the chairman role. He wasn't going to give the chairman role. That's not the normal way they do things at Disney. When they abnormally gave the CEO the chairman role as well was Iger in 2012. And he did that because he was coming off of, I've bought Star Wars. I've changed history. I've taken over Lucas's greatest thing. And so he was able to leverage that to give himself the CEO.
Oh shit! I fucking, you know what? Fuck it, I closed it out.
No, I
Um,
was gonna say that's not true because the reason Bob Iger assumed all that power was because the board. That's what the board wanted, especially in the wake of Michael Eisner. They were looking for a steady hand to get the company back on track. Like, there's the whole thing with the Eisner and the politics behind that he fails to mention as to why Bob Iger usurped him. But
yeah, that's the thing. Is again, yeah, you're right. Everything this guy is saying is super easily debunkable, and it's just. But the thing is, again, how you know you're in a cult is when they say the most outlandish shit, and not one person goes, "I'm a Newton bitter."
Well, I mean, he's saying it very confidently. Like he's
That's
got
just-
a lot. He's got an authoritative way of speaking, and that goes
Yeah.
a long fucking way.
It really
with
does. It like the best way. I believe Jeremy Piven said it best in the 1993 film PCU.
Mhm.
You can major in Game Boy if you know how to bullshit. And
Yep.
and I don't think Cameron, like, again, I think Cameron is the true believer. And so he's the face of this, which means there's someone behind him pulling the strings. And as we talked about the
so hold on though. So Cameron is the apprentice, and somewhere out there's a Darth City is getting ready to reveal themselves.
It's not that they're going to reveal themselves. It's just that they're using him to profit. Who
So-
are the two people that are mostly using Kamran Pasha to profit? Doomcock and Midnight's Edge.
Yeah.
And I don't see Doomcock as having that cavalier of a business acumen.
No.
I just don't see it. But I see Andre.
Let me ask a couple of questions because I might have a theory on Mr. Pasha.
Sure.
And so he last night I learned everything that I've learned about him. Basically, is that he was an entertainment journalist at one point, right?
Yes.
Like a legit one, like for different outlets and stuff. So like maybe he's not able to do that anymore for whatever reason. I'm not going to speculate why he's not able to get a job at a decent outlet or whatever. Maybe he doesn't want to, but like his mind still works in that way. So he's constantly trying to create the types of stories, narratives in his mind that he used to actually report on. You know what I mean? So like now, but maybe he started out legit, and just over time he's not actually being fed any real information or gathering any actual information, but it doesn't stop his fucking brain from just coming up with shit. And that's where he's at now, right? That's kind of how it seems to me, is that he thinks he's still operating from a place of facts, and he doesn't realize that he's just begun at some point spinning narratives in his mind.
I mean, that's probably the most accurate, is that he doesn't have any. When you are in your own feedback loop,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to get the hell out of it. And that is, I think, exactly where Cameron is. And of course, again, he's being used. He's being used by people who probably know this to some extent, and they don't care because they can bring him on at any point in time. He speaks with an air of authority, and people believe that because he has these credits to his name, that he knows more than they do. And he says enough shit to where they just believe him, I guess.
And the more bullshit that he says, then the more that they ask him to come on and say more bullshit, the more basically I'm sure he just spins more bullshit. It's a hellacious feedback loop.
Yeah, and it's for some reason I feel like it's escalating. I feel like it's just kind of more is piling on, like they just have to keep it going. And my fear is like, so I've said before, like I've been written about in the LA Times, that was, circulated around through all their sister outlets. I've been written about in, Russia Today and shit. And the reason why
I saw the meme today actually where they said Matt Jarbo started everything. He started the
oh yeah. Did you see that? Did you see that, Dane?
No, what is it?
Here, I'll show you the meme. Some guy, I don't know who it is, but some guy made this meme. And basically it's just it said, I gotta save it here. I'll bring it up. It's funny because it's kind of true. It's not that I want to say it's kind of true, but it feels like it might be a bit more on the truer side, looking at certain things. So here's this meme right here. Mundane Matt reports on indie game dev drama, and the New World Order government takes over everything. Now, if you don't know my history you're going to look at this and go, what the fuck is he talking about? What does this mean, Matt? What have you done? Well, I did. I covered some indie game dev drama back in August of 2014. And subsequently, as a part of a shutdown campaign, it ended up kicking off. It was one, not, I don't want to say it was the catalyst, but it was one of a few catalysts to get Gamergate off the ground. And as a result of that, Gamergate 7 years later still lives the fuck on. And there's even a book that insinuates that Gamergate is the reason why Donald Trump got elected and that I'm the reason Gamergate started. Ergo,
all the world's problems, Donald Trump, Brexit, it all stems.
It all goes back to me, baby.